guys, and welcome to another video with me, the Duke. Today's video is going to continue the series with movies, and in today's video we are going to take a look at some of the absolutely most disgusting and horrid movies that I own. So most of these movies were banned in the UK and in Sweden back in the days, but nowadays they are pretty much easily available. At least some of them are. So, we're going to start with the grandfather of all video nasties. Faces of Death by Conan Leslier, I think his name is. Now, when this was released in the early 80s, it got the reputation for being one of the vilest, most disgusting movies ever made. It's a documentary, a fake documentary should I say, hosted by a guy who called himself Dr. Gross, who is unintentionally really funny. Now we have scenes of accident, shootings, an electric chair execution. We have animal cruelty and a lot of things like that. But it's been known for many years now that 90% of the scenes in this film is actually fake. The electrocution scene is fake. The animal cruelty scenes are fake. There are some accident scenes, you know, and some I think war footage or something like that that's actually is true, but back in the days this movie had a reputation of driving people insane if they watched it. So yeah, Faces of Death. Next up we have another one, and this is Guinea Pig. It's a Japanese movie, The Devil's Experiment, and this is a movie basically just for shock value. You have two guys kidnapping a young Japanese girl, and the movie is basically an hour of them torturing her with sound, with heat, with needles, and the whole thing culminates, I think, in the kind of punch a needle through her temple and out through her eye, and then we kind of see her dead body and it just ends. Now this one also had a snuff movie label on it back in the 80s, but after that it's been documentaries and behind the camera stuff. So, and it actually is a series of films. I think it's 5 or 6 films, and they became, this one is, and the second one, The Flowers of Flesh and Blood, is by far the most gruesome. After that the series kind of underwent a weird, strange change. So they became more comedic in tone, like you have the one that's called He Never Dies, which is about a guy who can't kill himself, and he tries the more gorier ways the better, I guess, until it's just a head left, still alive. You have Mermaid in a Manhole, about an artist who finds a decaying mermaid in the sewers. So, but the first two entries were really, they are really hard to watch. Next up we have Sergio Garone's SS Experiment Love Camp. Oops, boobs. I don't know if YouTube allows painted boobs, but why take a chance? And this is one of the famous Nazi exploitation movies that came out during the 70s and 80s. And it's a war drama about one of the concentration camps, but it's exploitation, so it's a lot of boobs, a lot of BDSM scenarios, but it's pretty nasty nonetheless. It has kind of scenes of people being killed and shoved into an oven to be burned. A pretty nasty movie. Actually, it's nothing that I enjoy watching, to be honest, but here it is. The next one could be in the same vein actually, but this takes place during the, what is it, 1600s, and it's Mark of the Devil, about the witch trials, and it's I think it's directed by Michael Armstrong, and it actually stars Herbert Lom and Udo Kier, so it has some famous names. It also has Reggie Nolder as the chief torturer, and if you don't know who Reggie Nolder is, if you've seen Stephen King's Salem's Lot, the old one from '79, and the vampire Kurt Barlov, you know, the one who looks like a Nosferatu, that's Reggie Nolder. Now this one has some really unsettling scenes. Among one, this young woman here gets her tongue ripped out, and there's, well, you know, needle torture, the rack, you name it, and this one has it. Not that shocking by today's standard. It was made in, I think, 1967, so, you know, but it's pretty violent for that time period. Next up we have the grandfather of cannibal movies, Ruggero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust. And this one is a favorite. Unfortunately, it has a lot of animal abuse for real, which I personally have a hard time with. But the concept of the movie is pretty exceptional. It's this journalist who is trying to find a news team that went to the jungle to, you know, prove that cannibals don't exist and they disappeared. But when he doesn't find them, but he finds their camera equipment. So this is basically the first found footage movie, and what we see on those tapes are horrifying, because these reporters didn't find any cannibals, but they tortured and mutilated the natives to the point that they rebelled and actually ate them. So yeah, I was wrong, there are cannibals, but they weren't that violent until the white guys came and destroyed everything. So the movie ends with a quote like, "Who are the real cannibals, we or them?" Because it has a statement on entertainment and on news, how they cannibalize innocent people or victims to get views and money. And poor old Ruggero Deodato, rest in peace by the way, was actually had to go to the court and prove that the actors in the movie was still alive. So yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. And then we have its sibling, which is Umberto Lenzi's Cannibal Ferox. Also about a team of, I think it's a team of kind of university students who goes to the jungle to see if there are cannibals, and they come across these crazy drug dealers who have been abusing the natives, and now the natives are taking their revenge. Unfortunately, the students end up on the menu too, and it has some really gnarly scenes of a guy getting the top of his head chopped off and then his brain eaten. One of the female protagonists gets meat hooks through her boobs and hanged from a tree. One guy gets his pecker chopped off and then eaten, I think. So yeah, this one is not for the squeamish, but at the same time it's not really horror either. It's more of a jungle adventure film with very twisted story and also animal cruelty. You can't like it goes hand in hand. I don't know why. And finally, in the cannibal genre, we have also from Umberto Lenzi, Eaten Alive. And yeah, this one was, in Sweden it was actually called Inhuman Horror. But yeah, Eaten Alive, it's about a sect in Guinea that was based on the real sect, you know, with the Kool-Aid. And the guy and the girl gets there to try and save the girl's sister, and they escape into the jungle and come across cannibals. So yeah, this one is also filled to the brim with gore, intestine, someone gets like cooked alive more or less, or well, killed first and then cooked and eaten, and you know, there's animals getting, you know the drill by now. I'm actually talking about the most disgusting movies that I have, not the best or the most political correct ones. So yeah. And then we have a German movie, which is Necromantic, and it's made by a guy named Jörg Buttgereit. And it's kind of a dark comedy, I would say. It's about this guy who cleans up after car wrecks, you know, bodies from car wrecks and stuff. And one day he takes a body home, a decaying body, to like, I don't know, hang out with us. And his wife finds this body very attractive. So like first they have like threesome with the corpse, but she's more and more interested in the corpse and kicks the guy out. And this one has one of the most bizarre ending scenes I've ever seen in cinema. The guy who gets kicked out because of the corpse gets so depressed. I have some pictures here. Well, the guy who gets kicked out gets so depressed that he is going to take his own life. So what he does is he pulls down his trousers with the hugest fake penis I've ever seen, and then he stabs himself in the guts with a knife, and there's blood everywhere, and the music is like really it's hard to describe, but it ends up with him ejaculating blood and then he finally dies. This movie is really out there. I also have part 2, Necromantic part 2, but that one is, I don't know, the first one already kind of couldn't get any worse, kind of. So the second part is more or less the same movie, but it's a new girl, and she digs up the corpse of the guy who committed suicide in the first one, and yeah, horrible things happens. Now, this was just a small selection of movies that are so nasty. I wouldn't really recommend that you watch them unless you have a really sense sick of, I don't know, humor maybe, or something like that. There are many more movies that I have that could fit this list, but I just wanted to make a quick little video. And I actually watched someone on YouTube do a similar video where he showed off some of his more nasty movies. Now, there are some movies, of course, that I can mention right off my hand, that I have one of them. First one is Martyrs, a French movie about, well, this sect that kidnaps a young girl and tortures her and flays her just to get her to become a martyr. Because martyrs have the when they are so close to death and pain, they kind of see into the afterlife, and they want her to become a martyr so they can know the secrets of, well, life after death. That one I actually have. I have seen it once. I'm not intending to see it again because I found it too depressing to I don't know. It was just a depressing movie to watch, actually. And of course I have to mention a Serbian film, which I don't have, and I have no intention of getting it. I have seen it twice, and yeah, it's a disturbing movie. The theme of it is disturbing, and some of the scenes are disturbing. But I think personally that it's been overrated in the nasty category, because there are, of course, like bad things happening. Like one guy is screaming that the next big thing is kind of like infant porn, and you see a guy doing the nasty with a little kid, not a kid, a baby. But the baby is so obviously fake, so I guess the topic is what makes it really nasty. Not like the special effects aren't that convincing, and in the end it goes full Evil Dead with the guy going to take vengeance for the things that happened to him, and this sounds really weird. He has this boner, so he likes stabs a guy in the face with his boner, so it goes in to the eye and out to the back of the head, which I know is totally impossible thing to do, but you see how it feels like it was made just to shock people, and because it's made that way, I don't feel it's that shocking, if that makes sense. It's too much, it looks fake, so yeah. And then we have, of course, the Human Centipede, which I have here somewhere. And that was another movie that got a lot of, people. It's the nastiest movie I've ever seen. But, I mean, it's just silly. It's stupid. The guy who plays the doctor, I don't know his name. He's hilarious. I must say, out of all of these nasty movies we've been discussing, I think the Human Centipede is probably the most overrated and silliest of them. But anyway, there you have it, guys. That was a couple of the most depraved movies, most disgusting movies that I have. So, if you know of any movies that you feel are the worst of the worst, please let me know in the comment section below. If you like these kind of videos, I know I don't make that much ASMR, like role plays and stuff like that anymore, but I'm getting old and tired, and yeah. But I try to make these videos pretty relaxing by not screaming or talking too loud. But if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comment section. I have a James Bond rating video coming, and yeah, so you can support me on Patreon. Link is down there, because this is pretty much the only income I have. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week. It's Saturday today, so a wonderful Saturday, Sunday, and a wonderful week. Love you guys. Remember, there can't be any light without darkness, and I will see you in the next video. Good night.